Hello everyone and welcome to another video. In the last couple of videos, we all could see me taking on Hikaru in the early Title Tuesday, but in this video, we will have a look at my game against him from the late Title Tuesday. Because yes, there are two Title Tuesdays every single week, one happening in the morning and the other one happening in the afternoon or the evening. Anyway, before this game was played in round number 9. Hikaru was leading with 8 points out of 8 games, and I was in the hunt with 7 out of 8. So I knew, like, hey, if I want to have a chance to win this Title Tuesday, I need to beat him with the white pieces. So let's have a look at what happened. I opened the game up with the move d4. He played knight f6, c4, e6, and I played knight c3, and he plays bishop to b4. So this is the start of the Nims Indian. I have a great course on this opening, by the way, on Chessable. Feel free to check it out. And hey, the fact that Hikaru, your favorite streamer, is playing it with the black pieces is testament to the fact that this is a great opening. Anyway, I played the move queen to c2, and Hikaru played castles. Now here on the stream, he said that he expected me to try to force a draw with the move e4, but I had other intentions. I played the move a3. All right, so I attack his bishop on b4, Hikaru gives up the bishop, and I recapture with the queen. So that's really the point of the queen c2 system. To be able to recapture the queen on c3 and not allow the double pawns. Anyway, here Hikaru played the move d5, trying to create play in the center right away, and I played the move bishop to g5. So an interesting imbalance here. We see that black is a very slight lead in development, but I do have the bishop pair. However, white is still very far off from getting castled. I still need to develop the knight, push up the pawn, and get the other bishop out. Anyway, here Hikaru took on c4, I recaptured with the queen, and he played pawn to b6 to try to go for a very quick bishop to a6. Here I played rook to d1, bishop a6, and queen a4. And all of this is still theory, and if you look at the clock times, you can see that both of us had still been playing very quickly. I had actually more time than I started with, 3 minutes and 3 seconds, and Hikaru had 2 minutes and 57 seconds. But here, he had his first real think of the game, and eventually he played the move queen to d7, offering the trade of queens. Now the idea is that after I take, he can recapture with the knight, and black is doing very fine here. I mean, he's defending this knight. He's going to go for c5 quickly. White doesn't really have chances for an advantage here. But queen e7 isn't quite the move. The main move here actually is the move queen e7. Hikaru also has had plenty of games there. Anyway, he plays queen d7. And I played queen to c2. And already quickly here, he started to realize that he had messed up the line a little bit. He played queen to e7 in this position. Anyway, in this position, I continued with knight to f3. But even better would have been the move e4. To try to go e5 quickly and put pressure on this knight on f6, which is pinned. And a funny line goes, if black takes on f1, I can recapture the king. And after e5, I can go knight f3, but another interesting move is the move f4. Anyway, I played the move knight f3, just developing my knight, and he played h6, putting pressure on my bishop. Now here I decided to take on f6, he recaptured, and I played pawn to g3. So my idea is to go bishop to g2, and I had rook on the a8 square. I can also take the pawn on c7 here, but I'm not a huge fan of that as black goes rook c8 quickly. And here again, we see the problem of white that I'm still very far off from getting castled. My bishop is still on f1, I still need to push my pawn, like the e3 or the g3, and black gets very quick play. So I played the move g3, and again, my idea is to go bishop to g2 quickly. He played bishop b7, bishop g2, and here he was a little unhappy, because here he realized that white is a big threat. I mean, if I get another move, for example, if he goes queen e7 to defend the pawn on c7, white has very nice tactic. You can pause your video if you want to and see if you can find it. White has the move knight to g5, threatening checkmate on h7, and also hitting the bishop on b7. And if he takes my knight, I not only take the bishop, also his rook is now trapped. So white gets a winning advantage. But what Hikaru could have done here is the move rook to c8, hitting 2 birds with the same stone. He's not only defending c7, now knight g5 is no longer a good move, as black can take here, and the f8 square is available for the black king, and white is just completely losing. But instead he played the move g6, stopping knight g5, but now he forgot about the pawn. I just take the pawn on c7, and white's have a pawn with a big advantage. Now he played bishop to d5, and here I chose a move that was a little bit too timid. I should have just kept building on my initiative. Move like, let's say, rook c1, making it difficult for him to develop the knight, and white's have a pawn with a really good position. Instead, I played queen to f4, so now he can take a recapture. So I'm still up a pawn, but I have these double pawns, and he can now quickly develop. He played knight c6, castles, and rook a c8. So it's most likely that he'll be first to take advantage of the open c-file. I play d3 and knight to a5. So here it's already not so easy. He's trying to jump in with the knight to c4. He's trying to go rook to c2. Anyway, I played knight e5, a good move. So that after knight c4, I can always trade. And he played rook to c2, hitting the pawn on b2. And as rook on c2, it's not easy to get rid of that piece. So here I traded the bishops and I played knight to d3. Excellent move, defending the pawn on b2. And now I also have ideas of knight to b4. All right, Hikaru here plays knight b3, a very tricky move. I was expecting something like knight c4, but then I have the very simple rook c1. I trade off his active rook. I'm up a pawn and I have excellent chances to win. But knight b3, very tricky move. He's stopping rook c1 and he also has ideas of knight d2, hitting the rook on f1. And if I go here, he has knight f3. But here I found another good move. I played the move at knight b4, hitting his rook on c2 and the pawn on d5. He takes the pawn. And here it's very important that I don't take on d5 right away, because if I do so, again, he has that move knight d2, hitting my rook on f1, and if I go rook e1, he has knight f3 check, and white's actually losing as I lose the exchange. But I found the right move. I played the move rook to b1, offering the trade of rooks. Often when your opponent has one active piece, you want to trade off that active piece, and that's what I did with the move rook b1. Anyway, he took and played knight d2, hitting my rook. And I played the right move, rook to c1, putting my rook on the only open file, aiming to go rook c7, and this pawn is still hanging. And Hikaru played rook d8 to defend the pawn on d5, so it's just in time to defend everything. Like, I don't want to play a rook d1 here, as here I can go knight c4. Yes, I can take here, but then he takes here. And I was calculating this line, rook a1, knight b5, the material stays even, and black is fine. Which is why, again, I played the move rook c1, putting my rook in the open file. So Hikaru played rook d8, defending the pawn on d5. And here I go rook to c7, hitting the pawn on a7. All right, so Hikaru pushes the pawn at a5. I play knight c6 and rook d6. So for the moment, he's still holding everything together. But now I play knight e5, hitting the pawn on f7. And it's not so easy to deal with that. If he goes f6, then he's hanging the pawn on g6 and everything is collapsing. Rook f6 also isn't quite ideal. I mean, there's knight g4 now, hitting the rook. And h6 is going to drop. And if h6 drops, the pawn on f7 can drop as well. So Hikaru, he's known for his great defensive abilities. He played the move f5, hanging on to the pawns for now. All right, so good move by him. And here I should have played an instructive move. The move I apparently should have played here is the move h4, so that he cannot easily break free with g5. But okay, maybe he can go like b5, try to do something over there, maybe try to create a passer, which is why I played the move a4, fixing the pawns on the queen side. And here, he realized he was in a passive position, but he found the only way to create some activity with the move g5. Again, his defense is really good. So here I took in g5, he recaptured, and here I made a mistake. What I should have done is a move like rook c2, going after the knight on d2, which is a little bit trapped, or move my king up. But I played the move f3. I wanted to take away the e4 square of his knight. But here, after a move like f4, he would have had really good chance to draw. But instead, he plays the move g4, which is a mistake. I mean, he's just giving up a pawn. And his idea was now to go knight c4 and to go for a quick knight b2 to go after this pawn on a4. But here I managed to find the right plan. I played the move king f2. Admittedly, I overlooked the move knight b2 as now the pawn on a4 is just dropping. But I felt like, well, I should have enough counterplay here on the king side. I mean, I have moves like h4, h5. Or what I did, king f3 takes and king f4. I just want to walk the king in with king e5 attacking the rook. Knight f6 is coming as well. And I simply don't see defense for black. Hikaru played knight b2 to meet king e5 with knight c4 check, defending his rook and attacking my king. But I had calculated that I can take the knight and now take the rook. Because yes, he has 3 passers on the queen side, but the pawns are not going anywhere. Because after c3, I'm just in time to stop this pawn with the move knight f2. Knight e5, by the way, is also fine. The key is just to bring the knight back to d3. Because after knight f2, if you go c2, I'm just in time with knight d3 to stop the pawn from promoting. So Hikaru pushed the other pawn, a4, but now knight d3, a3, and knight b4. I actually stopped all of the 3 passed pawns, and here it's just completely over, as I also have a lot of pawns myself. Hikaru played b5, I played d5, king f7, king e5, and here Hikaru resigned. There's nothing he can do to stop me from just picking up all of these pawns and then slowly but surely promote my own pawns. So a win I was very happy with, not only because I beat Hikaru, and I also managed to climb up to shared first place in Title Tuesday, also because this was the first time ever that I crossed 3100 blitz on chess.com. Anyway, I hope all of you enjoyed this video and I look forward to seeing you all in the next one.